Okay, it's kind of a muddy day here, so we're going to show you something that we thought would be interesting. We're going to use these cars in the junkyard to show you approximately a 40-year evolution of the Chevy Truck or pickup. We're going to start with this 1936 because that's the oldest one we have here at the moment, and we'll go up to the 1970s because that's the newest one we have here. So anyway, this one is a 1936 Chevrolet truck. Notice the headlights on the stands. Very good looking V-shaped grille. This is the older engine that's not as good. This was a Splash Lube 6-cylinder inline engine. The cab is a little better looking here on a 36. A 35, which we don't have one here to show you, has what they call a high top. A lot more squared off. These are a little more rounded, have a good looking belt line on them. 36 still has a little bit of wood in them. The A-pillar, which is the post down the front of the door here, it's still got wood. So that means that the doors will just about fall off of there when they get old and rotten. The rest of the cab is steel. I think there may be one piece of wood up under the dash, but by 36, General Motors is starting to get away from the wood. If you saw a 35 truck, it'd be full of wood. The whole cab would be framed in wood. We'll go from that style cab to a 1937, which is further down the yard, so we'll have to skip down there. Okay, so this one is like a 37, 38 look similar. They changed a few things. I mean, it looks like the same cab, but we'll talk about that in a second. The headlights are up on a stand on the side of the grille. The grille is a lot more streamlined. That one's kind of bashed flat, but quite a bit different looking grille than the 36 that we showed you. And they also don't have the stand that comes over to the fender like the 36. The fenders have more of an apron to them, so you can see the apron on the fenders there is a little different than the older style. On the cab, this is the first one that's all steel. So the A-pillar and the dash rail and everything is all steel in this, where the other 36 had a little bit of wood still. They have a glove box door in here. Still have the crank out windshield. That's where this knob right here would be. That's to crank out the windshield right here. This one doesn't have the frame, but we'll show you one maybe that does. Okay, so now we're going to show you the cab that starts in 1939. Different from the 38 we showed you. This one happens to be a 40. We'll show you the differences on the 39 in it here in a second. But in 1940 they have the parking light here. They have a seal beam headlight, where in 39 you can see the seal beam here. So that's got a seal beam bulb, where in 39 you'd have the little bulb and reflector style, the same style bucket. 40 has a different grille than the older ones. This one's kind of smashed flat, but you can see it was kind of a barrel shaped grille with all these bars. Got a big badge that says Chevy there, the hood ornament. You know, the hood's is quite a bit different than the 38 style. Got a big piece of trim down it. The cab is all different. This cab starts in 39 and goes up until 46 basically. They have a different dash. So we're going to show you the 39 dash, and we'll pop it up on this side maybe, and we'll show you the 40 to 46 dash, and we'll pop it up on that side. Another difference on these cabs is the rear window here. On a 36 they start putting a die-cast bezel here. They get rid of it like post-war. So if you see a 46, it won't have anything here. This one was a 40. It had the trim, which is missing now. So this one is a 41, which uses the same cab as the 39 and 40, but they changed the grille a lot. You can notice that grille is a lot different. We're missing the upper part on this one, but the grille is a lot different. They got totally different fenders and headlights. Notice these headlights come right off the fender like that. 41 has a die cast piece here on the headlight, and like a 46, this would be all sheet metal. They're still using that old inline 6 engine. This is where I can show you the crank out windshield. So there's a crank handle right here, and you can crank the windshield out for ventilation. They do that, you know, up until I guess 46 would be the last year to have a crank out windshield. This is a military version, probably made during World War I for the war. So it has a painted, you know, some stuff that was painted on it originally. Some other civilian models would have more chrome on them. Okay, so now we're going to skip to the advanced design. We showed you up to 46. They start this style mid-year, I believe, in 47. It's called the advanced design. It's a lower cab, it's a wider cab, got a lot more room in them. They still use the old 216 engine at the beginning of this series. They go to a 235 later in the series, which is a, you know, a full pressure lube, a better engine. GMC would have a better engine as well, but the Chevy still use the splash lube engine. This one is like a 47 or 8, so it's kind of towards the beginning of this series. This one here is called a Thrift Master, so that's the fancier cab. It's got the corner windows right here. Check out the corner windows. So it's got the 5-window cab. It's got the stainless trim on the inside and outside, also on the windshield. This one has the wrong bed on it. It should have a hole right here for the gas tank filler. You can see the gas tank in there, but somebody swapped this bed out. So 47, 48, I'm not sure on 49, but eventually they put a gas filler on the cab. So that's kind of that style. We'll show you a later version of this here, and you can see what they've changed on them. This one also, they start out with a turn down door handle, no vent window. 51, they add a vent window, still had the turn down handle, so that's kind of a 1 year off. 52 to 54 or early 55, they have the vent window and a push button handle, so those are some more differences. There's also differences inside the cab, like there's a steel garnish molding on the first models, so then they go to this rubber in there. Some of the inner cab structure is a little different on different years. Okay, so we're going to skip ahead of here a little bit. They use the same cab on the 47 to this one, I believe, is a 54, but they change a lot of things. Notice this has a one-piece curved windshield, where the other one that we just showed you had the two-piece flat divided windshield. Quite a bit different grille in it. This one is a fancy model, so it has a chrome grille, stainless. It's got the 5-window cab, again, like the other one. By this time, they get the 235, the full pressure lube engine, so it's got a better engine. This is also kind of a rare year because this is the first year for the Hydromatic, so it's the first automatic transmission in a Chevy pickup. The dash is a lot different in here. Notice these are the door handles we were telling you about, which they changed in 52. Here's the vent window that they changed in 51. And we'll open it up, show you how the dash is different on a 54 compared to a older style. Notice the automatic shifter on the column there. Now also they use a different bed here, a different tailgate. This on the older style, they have kind of a flared out top on them. This has got a flat top bed, and also the tailgate looks more like a 55 up style compared to the older tailgate. From this, we'll go and show you, we have a 55, which is a totally different cab and stuff. We'll go show you that one now. So this one we just got in we'll have to show it to you on the trailer. This is a 1955, a lot different than the 47 to mid 55. They start doing these. You know, a much more iconic 50s look. Quite a bit different hood, grill, everything's totally different on this style. They make this style, they use the same cab from 1955 to 1959. And we'll show you the 58 and 9 to make show you some of the differences, different emblems. They offered this one's got the narrow window standard cab, but they did offer a wide window cab. This has got the step side bed. They also offered a cameo carrier, which was kind of a smooth side fancy bed, but this is kind of the standard model of this truck. Here again, you got that 235 6-cylinder. You could also get a V8 in one of these, a small block 283 or something. Well, that kind of gives you a good idea of what that style cab looks like. Okay, so this one is a 59. Notice in 58 they start doing this with the double headlights compared to the 57. Different hood emblem. The hood tapers down a lot more because of the width of the fender, so the hood's different. We got quite a bit different emblems on the fenders here. 58 they start offering a fleet side bed, so it's a smooth side bed compared to the step side on the older trucks. So that's a difference too. We've got a wider tailgate, kind of a full width bed. And that's about it on the changes from previous year. Here we're going to talk about the 60 to 66 style. We don't have all the variations here, but we'll do a few pop-ups and show you some of the changes as we're talking about it. In 1960 they start this cab. It's got a dog leg door here with a wraparound windshield. So they do from 1960 like this up until 1963. 64, they get rid of the wraparound windshield. It has kind of a curve to it, but they bring the door down like this and have a triangular vent window compared to this vent window. So this is called a knee knocker or dog leg. Then they go to the other door from 64 to 66. The dashes change as well in the different years. You can see this has a double hump dash, the older style. Also the hoods change on these. Look on the front of this hood. It's kind of more tapered down. This hood starts in 62. A hood like this. 60 and 61 have a real tall hood with a couple big parking lights there, so that's a lot different. But then each year has a different grill. This one doesn't have a grill, but we'll pop up some to show you. So that's about, you know, most of the changes in these. Some of these have a fleet side. This one over here, you can look at this one, has a step side bed. So that bed is like the old style. That's the step side. The one over here is a fleet side bed with a smooth side. They have different suspensions in them, and you could get many different engine options and stuff too. So this one is a 72. What we'll do is, they start this cab in 67, but we'll pop up some things here that'll show you the difference on the grill and the hood for like a 67, 8, 9 style. Then this one is the last of this series. This is a 72. Now they're getting, you know, a much more modern looking cab. This one is a 4-wheel drive, which is fairly common by this time. Just a real classic truck, good looking, full size 8-foot bed. You can look inside here. Got a good looking dash. This one, the steering wheel is kind of sun cooked, but you know, a lot more room than the older trucks. So this is the last of this series. This one's a 72. Okay, and also this has a different tailgate, you know, quite a bit different looking than the previous years. Notice the taillights are different. You know, some of that stuff is similar, but they change a lot of different little things. Okay, so here is the last of the ones we're going to do. This is what they call a square body. You can see why, real square choppy corners on it. Really popular these days. So these are quite a bit different. They start the square body in 1973. They make it up to like 87. They make it a little longer on a Suburban or something, but on a pickup truck I believe they go to 87. You can see this one is like a 1980 or older. It's got the round headlight. 1981 they start doing a double square headlight. This one is a C30. You could get a C10, C20, C30. This is a 1-ton. By this time it's more common to have a crew cab. Not real common, but you see more of them in the square bodies than you do the older ones. Today, you know, everything has crew cabs, but it's a nice big cab, a lot of room. Quite a bit different dash in here, you can see. More of a padded dash compared to the older stuff. It's all steel mostly. So, you know, it's getting a lot more modern. This one's got kind of a wild paint scheme on it. They have a more modern suspension, you know, braking and everything's a lot better on these newer trucks than the older ones. This is another one. You know, here again a crew cab, 3+3. You get 3 guys on the front, 3 guys on the back. Bench seats. But anyway, we're going to end it there because we don't have anything newer here. So that kind of shows you, you know, approximately 1936 to right up into the 80s, I guess. And, you know, hopefully you learned a little something from this video. Maybe other people can comment and tell us other differences. I'm not a giant expert on these Chevy trucks, but I know a little bit. Just showing you some of the differences.